Hey everybody, Adam here. I'm gonna just give you a quick reaction to the GW preview for 40K that we just had. It's really quick, nothing super special. A lot of it was what we expected. So going forward, here we go. So first up, we had the Adeptus Sororitas, Sisters of Battle. Again, it was expected because it was listed in the roadmap as one of the last ones to come out. So the big thing for that one seems to be the jump pack Canoness. Which you can have with different weapon options. It comes with the Army of Faith box set, along with the other jump pack models. So looks pretty cool, very customizable, which is a good thing I think because in the past especially with the Space Marines, they would stick with a mono pose commanders, and now it looks like they're bringing back more options for your HQ units, just like you saw with the Chaos Lord and the Chaos Jump Lord. Although the pose is more or less the same, you do get different weapon options at least, so you don't have to like heavily convert your models, and they seem to be continuing that with the Canoness on Jump Pack. So I don't have a Sister's Armor. I tried to build one when they first came out with the new models, but it just didn't happen. They also looked at Gene Stealer cults, and they showed us the new model with the big brain guy. So it's uh it's fine. Gene Stealer cult is again what's expected, and if you looked at the preview image, it basically showed this guy in the preview image, the silhouette anyway, so it was kind of expected. Next up was for Heresy, the plastic Mechanicus or Mechanicum army box, along with the model switched over to plastic. It it's hard to say because you don't see a lot of Horus Heresy being played, except at conventions or tournaments when they do have tournaments for them. I'm not surprised they did this because it makes it. The one thing I do like about it is that moving everything to plastic, which is what it seems what it seems they are doing, is that it's a easier a lower bar of entry. I mean, it's still expensive. It is Games Workshop, but it's much lower than if you were to buy this army originally, where it was all Forge World models. So I think it's as much as some Horse Heresy players may not like it, it allows people to want to get into it fairly quickly and easily, much easier, especially to the wallet, by buying these army box sets. So they have the tank, those models. More importantly for me, anyway, is the Thanatar, which is the big model with a giant gun on its shoulder, which if you bought it in resin would probably cost as much as the box set that they're coming out with. So um, and this coming out in plastic makes it's a nice model. I actually like it. I would buy it in plastic if not for Forge World, even though I don't play the army. What's sad, however, is that it I don't mean to be mean, but is that it is for 30K, so there are no 40K rules for it, and there probably never will be at this point because GW, it seems, clearly wants to separate the two. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the effort to plastic for tooling, the molding, and the shelf space. And it's probably one of the few models that will probably still be in stock compared to what they've been doing lately with their issue with items being in stock. So, but it's good if you wanted to get into add a Mechanicum on the Horse RC. If you go to a tournament, you might, depending on the TO, you might get approval to use them as something else in 40K, which, to be honest, shouldn't be a problem. Just email the TO, and you should be fine. Um, for me personally, the Legion Legion Imperialis book was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect it, but I don't know if many people do because Epic is not really as talked about as the other game systems, which is kind of sad because I like Epic a lot. It's what got me into the into GW games. So it's a new campaign book to learn. For those that know the story, Talarn was a lush planet with vegetation and stuff, and then the Iron Warriors happened upon it, and they had a bunch of big battles, especially tank battles, and now it's a desert wasteland. So you're gonna get the book, and then a bunch of different tanks. So just variants of the current tanks, like the Baneblade variants, the Lehman Russ variants, and the Sakaran variants. So that's all going to be released also. And then, but so I'm looking forward to it for me. But I play Epic, so if we want to play with me, Danny, John, and Tom, then it's I have to provide everything more or less because they're not going to buy anything. And Danny's really stuck on using the old Tyranid models from the 90s. Uh, but we'll see. Finally, we have Necromunda Secundus. Again, this was teased back in, I believe it was back in Adepticon, and it looks like it's bringing in back the Spires, which, if you played original Necromunda, they were originally high nobles that came down to Necromunda for sport, and they had super advanced suits. Your gang, your quote unquote gang, was a gang of three models usually. And this looks to be about the same. You get extra Van Sar, more teched out Van Sar. But the weird thing, or not the weird, but the new thing seems to be these mutated gene stealers, which I guess, according to the interview, are not as good as pure strain gene stealers, but are still a pain in the ass to deal with. They're probably toned down for Necromunda as opposed to like the tabletop or at least in fluff. So we'll see how they play. Same with like Brood Brothers. You can also use them probably in 40k just as something different for your pure strain. Instead of having the same 5 or 6 poses, you sprinkle in some of these from the Necromunda Secundus box, and it brings some variety to your army. So I don't play Necromunda anymore. I haven't played the new edition as much as I'm interested in it. So, but that's what we have, and that was the previews for the most part. They did designer interviews and things like that. Uh, if you listen to the last episode, which you can click on here, I did have a complaint in regards to how it was structured. The Age of Sigmar one dealt more with seemed to focus more on the development of AOS 4 and some of the models as opposed to showcasing the models. And I don't know if they realized that and decided to change it, or it's just the way it's because it's 40K's not getting a new edition that they took a slightly different format change, where it seemed the opposite. I got the feeling that was like they focused and paid attention to here's the new stuff coming out, and then talk to the guys. It was just a different vibe to me, which was more concerned. I don't know how much I like this format, maybe because I'm used to the older format where it was basically a live stream as opposed to a pre-recorded bits. So it's more like a talk show with commercial breaks, and the commercial breaks are the models. It just seems odd to me. Um, but this one was fine, maybe because I'm more interested in 40K than AOS. The other thing is, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm kind of getting a little burnt out on the reveals. It seems like they're doing one almost every month. So, like, we're getting a reveal for what they're calling skulls, which is basically the video game reveals. We had this one. We just had one last month well, 2 months ago in March. I assume we're going to get one at every GW event, and then you have LVO Adepticon Nova reveals. So you're looking at one a month at minimum. And I don't know if they've kind of lost their luster. Like all these reveals, quote unquote reveals for AOS and 40K, could have just been an article, just a separate article, in my opinion, just a separate article for each. Over the course of a week or two. So I don't know if I think it's just an oversaturation at this point, and it tends to dilute in my mind the the brand of like a reveal, where I can like, okay, I can miss it. Maybe not miss some of the bigger event ones like Adepticon, Nova, and LVO, only because that seems to be where they really put the really big ones, like when they showed off Fulgrim, or when they showed off Angron at LVO, or the Avatar. Things of that nature seem to be reserved for those bigger events. But even then, I guess it's just something to bring focus to their events or to other events that they do these reveals at. But it just seems like too much in terms of the reveals, and a lot of the reveals, like I said, like with this one in particular, it could have just been done in a Warhammer community article and gotten probably the same response. So I don't know if it's just for clicks, probably just to bump up their views and stuff on Twitch and things like that. But overall, it was okay. I'm glad that some of the stuff coming out. I'm seeing what's coming out for Sisters and G Cult. I was hoping they'd give us a larger roadmap for either of the next third or the rest of the year, but maybe we'll get that at the next GW Open or next big event. But that's it for now. Thanks everybody for listening. Leave your comments below if you did what your thoughts of the preview was and what you think they should have done, or if you agree or disagree, if you think they should maybe cut back on the previews, or if these were fine, or if they should have just been done in an article. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we should have an episode out soon. But I'll talk to everyone later.